Tonight, we're going to talk about where we are and where we're going on so many issues important to our future. 90% of Americans support common sense gun laws because we need to do more to address the epidemic of gun violence. Let's start there.
People affected by everyday gun violence have to walk by the street corner where their best friend, their brother, their mother, their nephew, where they themselves were shot. And life goes on as if we all haven't just watched a loved one die and get put in the grave. The whole point of what I'm saying here is until one of us or all of us stand up and say, I can't do this anymore. I can't sit by and watch the news treat these shootings like acts of God. Gun violence isn't just going to stop until there's a force fighting harder against it, and I'm going to do something to prevent it. They say that tougher gun laws do not decrease gun violence. We call BS! They say a good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun. We call BS! They say guns are just tools like knives. We call BS! They say that no laws could have been able to prevent the hundreds of senseless tragedies that have occurred. We call BS! That us kids don't know what we're talking about, that we're too young to understand how the government works. We call BS!
What we're fighting for will happen because we're fighting so strongly for it. We're going to make this change.
Long before this pandemic, our country has been suffering from the epidemic of gun violence.
Gun violence is a public health crisis, one that disproportionately affects the Black and brown communities. First, it was my beloved fiance.
My son, Jerry, at the Pulse shooting in Orlando.
7 years later, it would be my son.
I know exactly the pain, the toll, the heartbreak of gun violence.
My freshman year, my high school went into lockdown because a kid brought a gun to school.
We've had to endure live shooter training drills on our schools.
High schoolers have enough to deal with. They shouldn't also be responsible for keeping themselves safe at school. That's the job of the government.
We have to end corporate lobbying by the NRA. We have to invest in mental health in our communities rather than making our schools maximum security prisons.
I want a president who will make gun violence prevention a top priority, and I believe Joe Biden is that person.
And now, mother and activist, Deandra Dykes.
In a split second, a stray bullet shattered my family's life. My son DeAndre was only 13 years old. He was recognized as a gifted and talented student. His possibilities were endless. He was dancing at a birthday party when he was shot in the back left side of his head, shattering his skull. One shot changed our lives forever. Today, my Dre does not talk. He does not walk. I know he knows me by the smile he shows when I walk in his room, but I'm unsure if he knows a gunshot has changed his life. Since March, I've only been able to see my son 3 times, but I can't touch or hug him due to COVID-19. People tell me that I'm lucky. I tell them we are blessed. I remind them that my son is in a wheelchair and unable to feed himself. I don't think DeAndre feels lucky when he has to be bathed from head to toe or gets injections for muscle contractions. I am in a space of gratitude. Yes, I can touch DeAndre. I can hold his hand. But the child that I birthed is not able to live his dreams. And that hurts. Every day we're reminded that he may never be the same. We are not alone. In every town across America, there are families who know what a bullet can do. That's why I'm a mom who volunteers to stop this. President Trump, he doesn't care. He didn't care about the victims after Parkland, Las Vegas, or El Paso. I want a president who cares about our pain and grief. A president who will take on the gun lobby to ban assault weapons and close the loopholes to keep guns out of the hands of criminals. Joe Biden has taken on the NRA twice and won, and he will do it again as president.
I've looked in the eyes of too many parents, and I mean literally scores of them, who've lost their children to gun violence. And looked in the eyes of brave young people who survived school shootings. And I made each of them a promise. I made myself a promise. I promised them, and I promise all of you, I will make this promise today. Those families hurting across the country, I will never, 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 never give up this fight.
Out of pain, we choose to find meaning. A glimmer of light that lands on a promise. Former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, shot in the head from less than 3 feet away. But she survived. When tragedy strikes, we seek comfort in knowing we aren't alone.
Join us in this fight.
We seek strength to keep fighting, to keep moving forward. We turn to leaders who share our pain.
In the most difficult times, it's when we stand closest together. It's out of tragedy that we grow stronger.
He was there for me. He'll be there for you too.
We are a nation ready to end gun violence. A safer America is possible. But from this point forward, we must choose courage.
I've known the darkest of days. Days of pain and uncertain recovery. But confronted by despair, I've summoned hope. Confronted by paralysis and aphasia, I responded with grit and determination. I put one foot in front of the other. I found one word and then I found another. My recovery is a daily fight, but fighting makes me stronger. Words once came easily, today I struggle to speak. But I have not lost my voice. America needs all of us to speak out, even when you have to fight to find the words. We are at a crossroads. We can let the shooting continue, or we can act. We can protect our families, our future. We can vote. We can be on the right side of history. We must elect Joe Biden. He was there for me. He'll be there for you too. Join us in this fight. Vote, vote, vote. Thank you very much.